A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 214th episode of the Together for Education webinars brought to you by Notebook. As we proudly completed our 200th episode recently, going down the memory lane, it was back in 2020 when we here at Notebook decided to launch a platform for the educators to connect meaningfully on discussing problems they were facing with the rising need of digital education and online learning and arrive at common solutions. Little did we know that day about this platform growing so big that principals and educators from across the length and breadth of the country have participated over so many sessions. We thank you all once again for supporting us and we look forward to your gracious presence in all our upcoming episodes. We have discussed extremely vibrant topics here like digital learning, NEP and assessment, extracurricular topics like sports and theatre, topics like school finance and management, and even evolved topics like child psychology. Our today's topic is teacher diversity. Is it an option or a necessity? Diversity, ladies and gentlemen, is a term which can lead to better outcomes in various dimensions of our life, foster creativity, innovation, social cohesion, and so on. So diversity in the teaching ecosystem can never be of lesser importance. Let's hear from the experts today. Our first speaker on this topic is Mr. Philip Burrett. Mr. Burrett retired as the Deputy Headmaster from the illustrious Doon School in Dehradun after 44 years of serving in education across various institutions. Mr. Burrett served the Doon School as Housemaster, Head of Department, Dean of Activities, Dean of Student Welfare, Deputy Headmaster, Second Master, and Acting Headmaster with great distinction. He also carried out a visioning exercise for the Doon School in the year 2011 through an in-depth study of a number of British public schools and various schools in the US. Mr. Burrett qualified as a leadership trainer at the Wellington College, UK in the year 2000. He's also an athlete, an adventurer, and a nationalist. And we here at Notebook are privileged to have Mr. Burrett as our senior advisor. Sir, thank you so much for being here today. And over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Gauri. I hope I am audible, not visible.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you very much. I mean, you've got some fantastic topics. Of course, again, good evening to you, Achin, and everyone at Notebook, and welcome to our esteemed panelists and our guests. Last time we had teacher burnout, myth or reality, and we took the side of, at least I took the side of, it's a reality. Now, teacher diversity, yes or no? Well, it's something that is good. I mean, many schools don't have diversity, but if there is diversity, I think it's always better. Now, if you look at diversity, there are different schools, like you have a day school and a residential school. Generally, in day schools, there is not much diversity because children come from the same area, from the same state. And similarly, teachers also have, the diversity is much less. But in residential schools where I work, I found that there's a bigger diversity of both student and teacher body. This is because teachers come from all over, they have attractive accommodation. And children too, because it's a residential school, they come from all corners of India. One of the diversity areas is age. And I think it's important to have teachers who are old, who are middle-aged, and who are very young. The young have the energy, they learn from the elders. I learned more from elder teachers than all my training as a teacher in college. So I think there should be a balance of age down the years. We need to have youthful people, need to have people with wisdom, experience, who know the traditions of the school, etc. I think we need to have a diversity in terms of ladies and gents. What I find today in day schools is there are almost 95% ladies. I don't want to detract from lady teachers, they're wonderful teachers. But when boys are involved, I think it's important to have more men teachers. And a good school would have as close a balance to, let's say, 60-40 in terms of the sex ratio. I think also very important in residential schools is to have a blend of married and as well as unmarried teachers. Because I think the married teachers open their homes to children, in residential schools, we go and eat there. Bachelors and sprinters have much more time, they have much more energy, they'll end up doing more work in the extracurriculars. But I think a happy blend of married and unmarried teachers, young, old, ladies, and gents, I think culture and religions A staff room that is diverse. India is a diverse country, and a staff room should be a microcosm of the real macrocosm. And this is one thing that I benefited from, because each teacher brings with him his views, his culture, the food, his state outfit, language, the ways of looking at things. And we had days in which teachers could wear their lungis and dhotis and pagaris, and it's so colorful. Every festival was celebrated with pomp, whether it be Christian or Muslim or anything. At the Doon school, of course, we looked for diversities. We went out and got children from all parts of the country. And we had teachers too. We had Christian, Muslim, Parsi, Sikh, Hindu teachers from all states. Our English department was full of Bengali teachers. When we had people from the north, we had people from Kerala. We really had a very, very diverse staff. Our Spanish teacher was Spanish. Our German teacher had grown up in Germany. We had different accents. These people made their own food. And we had an international day at school because we were truly an international school. And as I said earlier, we celebrated all festivals, Diwali, Eid, Holi, and everything, Christmas as well. We also had teachers address assemblies during these big functions. And the children also learned what was secular thinking. They threw themselves into every festival. Then the other thing, of course, let's say hobbies and clubs. A hobby and a club should be run by a teacher who's passionate about that activity. It's not that you start philately because it's good to be, to have philately. I think a club starts only when a teacher can throw himself into that activity because he's passionate about it. And so in our staff room, so Sikhs and the Kashmiris, the Manipuris and the Keralites, the Gujaratis and Bengalis, all made it very interesting, each with their idiosyncratic ways, their manners, their quirks. Now, also diverse styles of teaching is good. Sometimes schools, because of strict rules regarding how teachers teach, common lesson plans, straitjacketing a teacher, they can't teach this way, they can't teach that way. It destroys the flair and individuality that a teacher brings to the classroom. Also, teachers come from different universities, different centers of learning, which breeds different thoughts. There are communist teachers, there's teachers who support different political parties. And of course, there is no wedge of contention between us. There was only a bridge of sharing, a heated discussion in the staff room, which spilled over to the classroom, where teachers had different political views. Was a good learning experience. Our history teacher, for example, he made it very clear that he was a communist. And therefore, when he taught, he always said what he was. And therefore, he didn't want to bias the children towards his thinking, but at least the children knew the standpoint from which he taught. There were sporty teachers, there were academic teachers, there were intellectual ones, musical ones, readers, much more. There were the action teachers who trekked and climbed mountains, the outdoors types. There were people who sat in the library, biologists who attracted groups of children for bird watching. There were historians who ran the MUN club. There were writers who encouraged children to be writers and ran the weekly published newsletter. And when students, students who knew who to turn to during bad days, they would go to the teachers who were good cooks. They would go to teachers who had a love for gardening. They looked after their dogs. My boys came and cleaned my car and learned all about motor car engines. In return of which I taught them how to drive. And I think this diversity of clubs, interests is all a part of a greater experience. Now, every school, of course, has its own idiosyncratic teachers, those great legends whose memories live on long after they've left school. In fact, long after they've died. And they've made impacts in generations of students. It's because they were diverse and they were allowed to be themselves. Lastly, I want to end by saying that while employing teachers, it's important to look and strike a balance of ethnicity, age, sex, married, non-married, academic, sporty. And it's at the interview stage that a school has to seek as much diversity as possible because we are a diverse country. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to the views of our panelists. Thank you very much, and over to you, Gangu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for those wonderful, wonderful inputs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss this topic, we have a wonderful panel lined up for you today. But before we start with the panel discussion, a little bit about us here at Notebook. We at Notebook are an edtech platform that creates short videos pertaining to the school curriculum. This means that every topic from every subject of the school syllabus has been converted into a series of short videos that can be used in two different cases. One is when you as a teacher are starting out a topic in your classroom, you can play one of these videos as a method of visually introducing the topic to your students. These videos are just 6 to 10 minutes in duration and take up very little of your class time while offering the right kind of material to students to generate curiosity and excitement. The second is when the student is studying at home months later. They have access to the same videos over and over again, and they can watch these videos multiple times until they get a very clear understanding of the topic that you have taught. What I'm going to do now is play you a mashup of notebook videos so that you know what exactly they look like.
Although he had walked physically like a human being, in his heart he had felt the pains of nature. শিশুটি ঘুম ভেঙে বুঝতে পারে যে প্রকৃতিকে রক্ষা করা তার কর্তব্য।
This time accountant Chacha sits, smiling, and Chittu explains his brother. A share is like ownership ticket to the company, whereas a debenture is an acknowledgement of debt on borrowed capital. It's just as the former is owned capital, whereas the latter is borrowed capital.
अपठित गद्यांश का उद्देश्य यह हमारी मौलिक समझ को और अधिक व्यापक तथा विकसित करता है। किसी पाठ को पढ़कर स्वयं उत्तर लिखने के लिए प्रोत्साहित करता है।
She felt that Helen was locked up in herself. She often lay on the floor and kicked her feet. Her parents found Miss Sullivan, a young teacher, who agreed to help Helen learn to see the world.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a small part of some of our videos as you just now saw. We have today connected with over 3,500 schools and have had millions of students and teachers benefit from our videos. If you head over to our website, www.notebook.school, you would find all such videos at your disposal. If you want Notebook in your school, please do get in touch with our sales team at sales@notebook.school. With that, it is now time to introduce the wonderful panelists that we have with us today. We have with us Suman ma'am, Director, BD Memorial School, Kolkata, West Bengal. Mrs. Suman Sood has been working in the space of primary and pre-primary education for more than 35 years now. She started her career as a teacher for a high school in Kolkata in the year 1990 and learned to be proficient in curriculum development, integration of technology, and various other fields collaborating with schools across the world. Ma'am led schools to be ranked #1 and amongst top 5 in pre-primary and primary education with prestigious service conducted by Education World, Education Today, Brainfeed Gurukul Awards, and various others. As British Council School Ambassador, she led Montessori schools in India for the first time to achieve British Council International School Award. She has co-authored sets of history and civics books published by Pearson. Ma'am, a very, very good evening and a warm welcome to the panel. Next, we have Sunitha Yernagula, ma'am, Principal, Silver Oaks International School, trained to teach and design the International Baccalaureate Organization's primary years program and align it with CBC curriculum. Ma'am is a confident instructional leader and curriculum planner. In the last 10 years, she attended many IB workshops and has IB certificates in topics including making PYP happen, assessments in PYP, reading and writing, concept-driven curriculum, teaching and learning, creativity, critical thinking, and conceptual understanding for the 21st century, and so on. In 2002, she joined as teacher of social science and steadily emerged to be the academic and administrative head of junior wing of the school, personally monitoring and leveraging the learning program of nearly 800 children and teaching program of 45 teachers. She comes as a committed educator and religion leader. Ma'am, a very good evening and welcome to the panel. We also have with us Santosh Kumar Tripathi, sir, Principal, Sunbeam School, Narayanpur, Uttar Pradesh. Sir, who has been flourishing as an academician for over 18 years now, started his career as a PGD chemistry in a CBC school, St. Krishna RRN School, Allahabad. He has worked in GPS Allahabad as academic head and curriculum planner in Sunbeam School, Mughal Sarai, as vice principal at SRMPS Lucknow. Sir is now working as a principal from last 8 years in Sunbeam School, Narayanpur. Sir, a very, very good evening and warm welcome to Notebook. Welcoming my panelists once again. If I can start with Sunitha ma'am. Ma'am, a very good evening. My question to you would be, is teacher diversity an option or a necessity? And what is the thought process behind implementing teacher diversity in your school?
So what I feel before I begin, hello to everyone. So what I felt is before starting the discussion or whatever I want to share my thoughts, I think it's a diverse, the way we all of us are from different parts of India, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Kolkata, hearing the diverse perspectives of about the topic what we are into itself, it's an interesting one. What I feel is the way each one of us are going to share our thoughts. Diverse learning is nothing but the knowing the perspectives of each and everyone and going according to their needs and all is what I feel. And that is what I think today I'm going to spend another 45 minutes also hearing to other people's perspective connected to the topic what we have today as teachers, as why diversity is important in the schools. So what I feel from personally from my end is, so Visakhapatnam, it's not a big city kind thing, but it's a small city. But of course, a beautiful city where we can enjoy. So at the same time, as ours is the only IB PYP school, which has a PYP happening there. So it's a mixed bunch, like it's a mixed culture of the students from different parts of the India and from other places also. But at the same time, having the teachers from the local, it's not that where we are going to have in Visakhapatnam especially. And the footfall also from other states, it's not that great. So as a school, what we do is first thing I'm going to connect in that, because today the kids, the amount of exposure the students have, the way they are into the action into the classroom, until and unless the teacher is not according to the needs of the student, I don't think so they connect very well. So that is how what as a school we do from our end is, we recruit the teachers in the beginning of the academic year, train them according to the needs. So I feel that collaborative planning plays a vital role in any school. So what happens as a part of the collaborative planning is they get to hear from other teachers, what are their things, how are they and all. So a lot of peer learning happens amongst them. That makes them to be a confident teachers in the classroom. Because as we know that one size doesn't fit for everyone. There are going to different levels of students in the classroom where the teachers have to get into their levels, and according to their needs, the teacher has to be an active participant in the classroom. So diverse learning in the classroom with that young minds like 3.5-year-old to maybe the 14.5-year and all. So it's the way the teacher is going to take, that is what is going to. So what as I feel that giving the exposure, the amount of whenever we recruit, whatever they're going to come, they will be equipped with the knowledge, whatever the certification and all. But according to the needs, day by day, see, the way I learned, the way the students are doing, there is a lot of change in that. But according to that, we have to tailor make to the teachers, even the teachers also, train them accordingly, so that they're going to be what we feel is a balanced classroom with different mindsets is what I feel. Then the second part is diversity. It has its pros and it has also cons, but the challenges also. See, as a school, we give them what we can, the best we can. But at the same time, the readiness of the teachers also plays a vital role. See, unless and until they are going to collaborate. So if at all, I feel that, okay, with my team teaching can help something from the class, what they're going to have, that is again a good collaboration between the teachers. So that is how we can train amongst the teachers what we have. And at the same time, according to addressing the needs of the teachers where they need, also will help us to sustain the process, what we are into, and going along with the kids, what according to their level, what is needed. I think that will help us, I feel from my end.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you're telling something?
No, that's what I feel that, like, I'll take a small example of the bridge, which is designed, like it is called as a Cholu Tekar Bridge. In 90s, it's been built. Okay. So it was so strong, and the reason why they have designed the bridge also, it is for the to go away with the strong hurricanes. So it was the strongest, and they felt that it is going to help everyone. But because of the landscape change and all, it is being the strongest one constructed. But because of the heavy rains and other thing, the landform has changed and the river started taking another direction. So as educationalist, we also have to make in such a way that even though it's a strong, but because of the needs and all, that the way the path has got changed. So we, the teachers, also have to change according to the needs and act upon to that, so that it will be a good one for the students and for the teachers also, is what I feel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Coming to Suman Sood, ma'am, a very, very good evening. Welcome to the panel once again. And my question to you would be, what are the basics of teachers' diversity in schools? How much popular is it as a concept? And how do we implement it at a school level?
Thank you, Gagri. And I'm very honored to be here amongst very esteemed panelists. And as Sunitha ma'am said, the diversity of the panelists is exemplifying the topic itself. So very good evening. And about diversity in school, teacher diversity in schools. Actually, when you brought this topic to my notice, it struck me that yes, why haven't we actually thought about it? Frankly, I had never really delved into it until this topic came from you. So teacher diversity basics here would be, as an early childhood educator, I would say that, in generally in the lower classes, we, when it comes to diversity, yes, based on ethnic diversity, based on the race, age, socioeconomic, all that is fine. But gender diversity, we generally avoid in the early childhood years. So we end up taking mostly female teachers, if you would all agree with me for this point. And probably because, that motherly touch is there, or probably because we think that teachers will be, the children need that warmth in these years. And as Sunitha ma'am has been saying, it depends. Diversity is again dependent upon the needs of the classroom, needs of the children, needs of the school, needs of the area. But yes, all these factors, it is very important that we now look at diversity in a different way. And mainly because diverse teaching staff can reflect the diversity of the student body. So students, they can see their teachers as role models, teachers who share their backgrounds, who share their experiences. Then there are multicultural perspective is also there. Teachers, they come from different cultures, so they share their cultural perspectives. Like if I'm a Punjabi, I can share my Punjabi practices, and I would be knowing it more in detail rather than just looking at it from a point, just looking at it in a very bookish manner. Then there is reduced bias also. And we need to reduce these biases about different, and then stereotypes in education. And here, maybe we can think about the gender bias in the early childhood years also. Then some men make wonderful teachers, even in the early childhood years. Then there's improved learning outcomes. We have seen that children who have teachers who share their experiences in a proper manner. So those teachers are able to guide and bring in rich, enhanced experiences, enrichment into the classrooms, and improve the outcomes, learning outcomes of the children. Then also the inclusivity. We promote that when we are looking at diversity. And so now it is becoming popular because end of the day, we are all moving towards globalism. We are global citizens. We don't call ourselves citizens of one nation or one country. We are when we talk about globalism or global issues, so then we have to think of teacher diversity at a much larger extent than what we have been thinking of earlier. And how to implement it in schools? Well, there are different ways when it comes to recruitment. During the recruitment time, we can have policies and we can ensure that we can reach out to, different universities or colleges, which are the teacher training universities and colleges. And from there, we can request teachers from different backgrounds. And a proper planning is required by schools to implement this. And they also know that data and the proper data analysis and follow-up is also required by the school so that we can move towards this goal. And then professional development also is important here, in the sense that when we are talking about different issues like related to diversity, so we have to look at the equity inclusion in the classroom as well. Then mentorship programs can be had in schools when you have teachers from different diverse backgrounds. So there can be mentors to make sure that they are able to settle down into the class, into the school, and they are made to feel welcome. Then inclusive curriculum also is important. If we have an inclusive curriculum, we will definitely look at at getting these teachers from different backgrounds. And the environment, again, as I said, has to be supportive, so that these teachers who are from any kind of a different background, they are made to feel comfortable. And accountability also needs to be there for schools. If they need to see how many teachers they can have from different backgrounds, and if they are not having, they should consciously make an effort to ensure that there is they are moving towards this. And anti-bias training should be given to the teachers also, and also to the students. There should be no biases when we are talking about different teachers from different backgrounds. And also supportive groups can be made, associations can be made, so that teachers, they feel comfortable. So implementing the teachers' diversity basically requires commitment from schools, from community at large, and from all the stakeholders. That is what I feel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for those wonderful, wonderful inputs. Moving on to Santosh Kumar Tripathi, sir. Sir, how much essential is teachers' diversity as a concept? What are the basic principles for implementing teachers' diversity in school? That is my question for you.
Good evening, everyone. I hope my sound is audible.
Yeah. Absolutely, you're audible, sir.
Okay. So many panelists has spoke about the diversity and how to implement this in the classrooms. So basically, the diversity, I am coming from the background of Air Force. That is, my father was in an Air Force, and we usually, my schooling was in the Kendriya Vidyalaya and Air Force schools. So in that school, in different locality in Northeast, in Delhi, in Gujarat, my education was there. And in the classroom, not only from a particular state or particular area we were there, so many state representatives were there, and the classroom was basically learning where the different culture, the different peoples, the different backgrounds we belongs to, and we were there. And the teachers, obviously the teachers in the KVs and the Air Force also, they came from also the different backgrounds. Somewhere from Kerala, somewhere from UP, somewhere from Punjab. So we interacted with the different kinds of the teachers and their perspectives and their way of thinking. And that created a lot of in the biology, we have studied about the convergent evolution and the divergent evolution. The convergent evolution is a stepwise where the organism is going to develop one by one stage, and divergent is the thing where so many things come at a random and a certain new thing is going to evolve. So diversity in teaching, in teachers, in the classrooms is going to play an important role. In classroom, different students are going to come from the different background. Some are from the lower caste, some are from the upper caste, some are from economically weaker section, some are strong weaker section. But when they come along within a single classroom and the teacher is going to deal with certain things, then a new thing is going to come on. I believe that the divergent or the diversity is going to lead to a new type of education, a new evolution is going to be stated there. For example, I'm just focusing on the interdisciplinary curriculum. Also nowadays it is going on very frequently, it should be interdiscipline. So in the diversity, for example, the history and the English teacher can come together to talk about the cultures and the diversity in the history across the classroom for a certain thing, for an evolution of certain Gupta period or anything, where what are the cultures evolved there and the literature, what has been come there. So that is also an part of our diversity and integration of the different subjects. Doing this gives an reinforcement to the ideas of diversity and helps the student apply it in the multiple areas of the schooling and the life. Teachers can begin with each term with a simple email or conversation with each other, with the teacher asking if they would be interested in collaboration on the subject of the diversity. So many. Now I'm going to a little bit speak about the use of variety of these teaching strategies in the context of this diversity. All students have different learning needs. Some are going to memorize quickly, some are going to understand quickly, some are going to have a different logical values there. So it is valuable for the teacher to use the different strategies to appeal to the different strength of these learners. Teacher can utilize the regular reviews of the concept, learn to help the student, retain information, use a variety of visual, audio, and tactical learning. That is also a diversity activities to meet the need of different kinds of the learners, provide opportunities for group activities, as well as one-on-one interaction, and listen to the student feedback to adapt the based on what each student needs, being prepared to utilize different teaching methods and strategies will help foster a successful, diverse classroom. A little bit, I want to focus on the thing about the more what the researchers has been till now spoke about the diverse classroom. Research shows that the diverse classroom improves the learning outcomes of every student. Why it is so? Because the different students are going to come from the different background and they are going to share their ideas, their culture, their feelings, their thought of precision in the classroom, and the peer group are going to discuss the things and something new is going to evolve out of that. When controlled for the socio-economic factor, see no difference in the test scores from the school that are in the less diverse. Means the classrooms which are having a less diverse or the diverse category of the student, there are low progress, whereas the student of different background, different culture, different language, they are going to evolve much more. Including diversity in your curriculum as a teacher improves a self-efficacy as a learner. Self-efficacy is a person's belief in their ability to meet the challenges, accomplish tasks. It also helps improve their self-worth, tolerance, and the appreciation for the different views or more. A little bit example with my personal, whatever we have done, we are going to belong from the UP, and in one of the KB, one teacher from the south has came, and usually normally during the off time we used to talk in the Hindi, but she was unable to understand the for few months the Hindi because she was fresh and just came from the south and to teach us. So she was a physics teacher. So she is used to teach us, and we understand, and little bit we have a conversation in the Hindi. So she tries with us to talk with us, and what you are speaking, what you are discussing, tell me also in the English. I also want to be a part of your discussion. So that is a part where she is going to, and within a 2 to 3 months, she learned the Hindi only with involving herself in the classroom, talking with the students, those who are of the Hindi belt. So that is a new evolution for her also. So similarly, in the classroom where the diverse students are going to be there, where they from the different region are going to be there, they used to learn the language, they used to learn so many things, the culture and the beliefs and the everything. You are going to say that a new thing is going to evolve from the diverse and the diversity of the teachers as well as the student in the classrooms. So that's all I have to speak, ma'am. Hello.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your wonderful inputs. Thank you all my panelists for their inputs. And moving on to our next speaker on this topic, Mr. Achin Bhattacharyya, CEO and founder at Notebook. A chartered accountant by training, Achin was a director at Deloitte prior to starting Notebook. He has worked in India and abroad in various senior capacities in GE, PwC, KPMG, and Deloitte. Achin is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, a fellow of the ICAI, a member of CPA Australia and CPA Ireland, and a member of CMA UK. He is also the recipient of the prestigious Indian Achievers Award, an avid reader and a passionate traveler. Achin has been taking keen interest in economics, history, literature, and philosophy. He's a regular speaker at various forums and chambers of commerce, and also contributes articles to numerous publications regularly. He's also on the board of some of the most renowned corporates that contribute significantly to their brand strategy. Achin, a very good evening, and over to you, please.
Good evening, everyone. Gagure, I hope I'm audible.
Absolutely.
Some really interesting exchange of thoughts on this wonderful topic. A topic which is very close to my heart. We would all agree that the most important role of education is to create better citizens who are not only good doctors, engineers, chartered accountants, entrepreneurs, or politicians, but those who are wonderful human beings, those who are receptive, tolerant, and have the maturity and sensitivity to accept and appreciate diversity. Seeing is believing. What children see, of course, they believe in. Hence, the best way to teach them to appreciate diversity is to walk the talk. And I think there can be no place better than the campus, than the school, to teach a diverse class of students, a diverse group of students who are all coming from different stratas of the society, from different backgrounds, different schools of thought, to ensure that they logically feel more at home. Of course, a diverse group of educators can do wonders. And this is one area where children learn far more at school, and naturally far more at school than at home, where, of course, most of the times family members or extended family members, most of the times, there's a great degree of uniformity in terms of cultural preferences, in terms of different other areas of life, way of life. So this is one area where I think almost the entire bit of learning, especially in early childhood, is from the school. Now, unless and until parents make a very conscious and continuous effort in this direction, I think otherwise the entire contribution is on the part of educators. Now, if I look at this topic holistically, now personally, I have been a part of many hiring panels in organizations, global organizations, both in India and abroad. And I've seen how much importance is given to having a diverse workforce. That's one of the key selection criteria. It is considered a huge strength as each individual brings in his or her unique and divergent strength on board, which makes the team invincible. Now, to share a small incident, very interesting one. At the initial stages of my career, I got the opportunity to be part of a very diverse team. So we were a team of 32 people working in a European city, and we were from 12 different countries. And at one phase, the project, indeed, it hit a roadblock. It was going nowhere. And that's where I saw each individual's unique and diverse strengths come to the forefront. I saw the Chinese and Korean guys putting in more than 18, 19, 20 hours a day at a stretch for 7 days a week for 6 months without a single break. I saw the punctual British HR manager ensuring that everybody is on time, even in a high stress situation, and we don't miss any of our toll gates. I saw my easygoing French colleagues who otherwise seemed very casual, very relaxed, chilled out, adding a lot of finesse to the presentation with their worldview. The methodical German lady preparing an SOP where not even a single minute step would go missing. Things which we would normally consider a no-brainer, even they were very clearly documented and specified, so that there is no scope of any kind of subjectivity. Everything. And I also saw our American marketing manager sharing some great customer psyche, which really helped the team. And we, the two Indians in the team, we are so happy to innovate and eliminate more than 40% of the work by coming up with workarounds, coming up with solutions wherein we could achieve the same result with after eliminating more than 40% of the steps that were initially there in the project, so that the team could actually achieve completion within the cutoff date. And that I realized how important it was to have a diverse workforce where everyone comes in with their own unique strength. And that's true in every walk of life. Even one of the most important attractions of any globally reputed academic institution is getting access to a very diverse pool of, be it faculty, be it peers, wonderful individuals whom we interact with, who have all had their own eventful, unique journeys. And the campus becomes a melting pot where they enrich each other's worldview. And that's something which you can only experience when we interact with such a diverse group of people. And this is something which, of course, the entire world is coming to terms with. Even if you look at the PR policy of most of the countries who, kind of welcome immigrants or who thrive on immigrants because of aging population, etc., we would see ethnic diversity is one of the key selection criteria. Be it any lottery, be it any selection program for migrants. So I think diversity is very important. And it is something which is one of the unique strengths of any nation. And as a nation, we are so proud to have a centuries old, thousands of years old culture, which is so diverse. The other aspect is when you look at this topic from the perspective of educating our next generation, I think we all have a right to choose what we want and what we do not want, and so does our children. But to be fair to them, we should lay all the legitimate options in front of them to choose from. And only after honestly and thoroughly knowing each of them, I think they can make a choice. So it's really important that they should be able to appreciate someone else, irrespective of howsoever different the other person is. Now, in today's age, I think a very interesting point, which was recently made in the session, that diversity can have various forms, be it in terms of gender, orientation, religion, linguistic proficiency, ethnicity, political inclination, or maybe in terms of the centuries old, left versus right brain debate, creative versus the analytical doer. Now, these are all different forms of diversity, be it the intellectual versus the practical debate, be it diversity in terms of dietary or cultural preferences. But today, if we look all around us, in fact, even nature is teaching us to appreciate and respect diversity in its own way. Such wonderful, varied landscape, high snow-clad mountains, hot, barren deserts, never-ending giant blue oceans, small hilly rivers and waterfalls. Even rainbow has 7 colors. Even music has Satswar. Different seasons, so many festivals, so many different kinds of fruits and flowers. I think there's diversity all around us. And it is perpetual. It will always be like this. So I think these are a few thoughts that I wanted to share. I thank all of you for giving me a patient hearing. And it was really wonderful listening to all of you. Over to you, Gauri.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Achin, for those wonderful, wonderful deliberations. We have come to the close of this session, thanking all my wonderful panelists and speakers for their inputs. Philip Burrett, sir, a happy blend of married and unmarried teachers, young and old, ladies and gentlemen, and how your school truly emerged as an international school. Really, really wonderful, real-life example, sir. And thank you so much for your inputs, as always. Sunitha ma'am, you started wonderfully.
Thank you.
Our pleasure, sir. Our pleasure. Sunitha ma'am, you started wonderfully about how diversified is the panel today and how the education has been evolving through this diversity of teachers. Wonderful inputs, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming and gracing the platform today. Suman, Sood ma'am, as always, your wonderful inputs on the basic of teacher diversity and what are the methods of implementing the diversity in schools, particularly the anti-bias training. I really like that concept. Thank you so much for being with us today, ma'am.
Thank you very
Santosh,
much for having me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Our pleasure. Santosh Kumar, sir, the Air Force background and how much it helped you and your points on convergent evolution versus divergent evolution. Thank you so much, sir. Achin, thank you so much for your deliberations, the role of education and how we teach our little ones to accept and believe in diversity, how the campus becomes a melting point. I really like that space. Thank you so much, all of you, and take care and goodbye.